Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. Prince George's County enters the next phase of its COVID-19 vaccination plan. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks held a news conference this morning. Officials are urging people who are 75 or older to get vaccinated now. Officials are also asking people who are between 65 and 74 years old and essential employees to pre-register for the rollout of Phase 1C, which is expected to begin in a few weeks. The county is also canceling appointments made by people who don't live or work in Prince George's.
And when we realized that so many from outside our jurisdiction were taking up appointments that were intended for Prince Georgians, you should know that we made adjustments there. And because initially what happened is a good number of those appointments were made because the state website did not prohibit individuals from other jurisdictions from signing up. We have since replaced those appointments with our older seniors and those who work in our county.
To register for the vaccine, go to mypgc.us/COVID vaccine. Well, Maryland's coronavirus numbers continue to rise. The state health department today reports 1,600 new cases. The agency is also reporting 36 COVID deaths. More than 343,000 Marylanders have contracted the virus since the pandemic began. Meantime, concerns continue to grow over racial disparities in COVID vaccinations. This, according to the Baltimore Sun. Early data of the vaccine rollout shows minorities have received shots at disproportionately low rates. Reports show that only 16% of the state's first dose of the vaccine went to African Americans. The black population accounts for about 33% of Maryland's COVID-19 cases and 35% of the state's fatalities. The data also shows that 4.6% of the doses went to Latinos. Well, COVID-19 relief, climate change, and transportation, these issues should be priorities for President Joe Biden in his first 100 days. That's according to County Council member Danielle Glaros. Glaros says she's excited to see Biden sign executive orders on immigration reform and housing relief, but she says it's urgent that state and local governments receive additional pandemic relief.
There is additional support needed. Lifting vaccine, we're doing something we've never done before. It is everything from figuring out where we're purchasing cold storage from, because you need to have cold storage for the vaccine, to making sure you have enough people vaccinated so they can actually operate these sites, to training enough people, to making sure that they can actually give people the vaccine. So there's a lot of layers to all of this happening.
Glaros represents Council District 3. Well, Democrats in Congress are moving ahead with preparations for the second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. Democrats say there's a compelling case for Trump to be convicted for inciting the deadly insurrection on January 6. Republicans appear to be split on whether the Constitution allows an impeachment trial for a president who has already left office. Trump allies say the trial should not be held for the sake of unity. The single article of impeachment is expected to be sent to the Senate today. Well, the U.S. Justice Department has launched a probe to determine if any agency officials were involved in efforts to overturn the presidential election. Inspector General Michael Horowitz today said he's reviewing allegations concerning current and former Justice Department staffers. The New York Times reporting recently that a former Assistant Attorney General spoke to Trump about challenging the election. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer just days ago called for an Inspector General investigation. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. More news in just a bit.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
Well, state and community leaders call for the end of flavored tobacco sales in Maryland. The proposed ban would include electronic smoking devices, menthol cigarettes, flavored cigars, and smokeless tobacco. Delegate Jazz Lewis says it would help protect youth from tobacco addiction and stop the exploitation of communities of color.
The Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland has supported this legislation. Menthol cigarettes, electronic cigarettes is overwhelmingly used by African Americans. It's been marketed heavy by big tobacco in the African American community as a cool thing to do. So whereas you've seen a decline in general cigarette use among most products for like the last decade or so, menthol is still very high within the African American community and causes a lot of health disparities. So we're trying to stop that with this bill.
Senate Bill 177 will be heard before the Senate Finance Committee this Thursday at 1 p.m. Well, as the pandemic continues, Baltimore Gas and Electric is providing $20,000 grants to struggling companies. It's through the BGE Energizing Small Business Grants Program. Your business must be a BGE customer and have between 2 and 25 employees to qualify. The company says this 3-year effort will provide at least $15 million to small firms affected by the coronavirus.
The BGE Energizing Small Business Grants really came about as a result of recognizing the impact that the pandemic was having on our residents and community members. BGE really took a step back to really analyze how we could potentially support our customers in recovery from the pandemic.
The first application period closes on March 3rd. Well, the Maryland Judiciary is seeking a nearly 5% increase for its fiscal year 2022 budget. The Judiciary says the boost reflects the changing conditions needed to support video court proceedings, online interpreter services, remote screenings of jury candidates, and more. Court of Appeals Chief Judge Mary Ellen Barber says the pandemic has affected the vulnerable in Maryland more severely, and that the need to maintain and enhance drug and mental health courts as well as related services is more important than ever. Well, housing sales up in Prince George's County. The local Realtors Association says sales were up 23% in December. 1,145 homes were sold last month. The average price just over $369,000. According to the Realtors Group, half of the properties listed in December sold in 8 days or less. Well, County Executive Angela Alsobrooks will host a town hall meeting for the Latino community this evening. Alsobrooks Delegate Joseline Pena-Melnick, Councilmember Danny Tavares, and CASA will provide an update on the county's vaccine distribution plan. They'll also answer questions and concerns from the community.
Latinos and Blacks participated in these clinical trials, and they participated in higher numbers than we have seen in the past. And that it is really being compared to the safety as the vaccine for measles, so you can trust it, and that you need to get it because COVID has affected us more than any other community, the Black and Brown community. We have the highest number of COVID cases in the state, and many of our people are dying.
This has affected your family personally, as well as I've read so many lawmakers and other people that we know of that have also been affected personally.
Absolutely. So, I lost my father, I lost my cousin to COVID. I lost 2 amazing friends to COVID, people that were young. Last night, the night before last, I found out that former delegate Carlos Sanchez who represented 47B, his father just died of COVID. So this is very personal to many of us.
The town hall takes place tonight at 7 o'clock. To submit questions or to view the webinar, log on to the sites at the bottom of your screen. Well, to the NFL, he's Super Bowl bound once again. Tom Brady, heading to his 10th Super Bowl game after his Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Green Bay Packers yesterday 31-26. Brady didn't have his best game. He threw 3 interceptions, but also 3 touchdown passes. Brady won several titles with the New England Patriots before joining the Bucs this year. He's considered the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. Brady and the Buccaneers face off against young superstar Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City in 2 weeks. And the 2-week layoff didn't help the Washington Wizards. After a half-dozen games postponed because of COVID-19 restrictions, the Wizards were on the court against the San Antonio Spurs last night. The result, another loss. While Bradley Beal scored 31 points for Washington, the team fell to the Spurs 121-101. The Wizards play John Wall and the Houston Rockets tomorrow night. Well, a quick look now at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, it is going to be rainy, possibly mixed with snow. Evening temps drop to a low of around 33 degrees. Tuesday, more rain in the morning with daytime temps reaching a high near 41 and a low of around 36. Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high near 45 and a low of around 29. And Thursday, partly sunny with a chance of snow in the morning, temps reaching a high near 38 and a low of around 22. And now for the community calendar, calling all teen artists. The county is encouraging young artists to participate in this year's Black History exhibition. Students will create and submit their own artwork inspired by the theme, Healthcare and Healing Traditions in the Black Community. You must be 13 to 18 years old and live or attend school in Prince George's County. All entries must be submitted by Friday, January 29th at 11:59 p.m. For more information, search for the event on pgparks.com. And that's our news for tonight. See you tomorrow night. I'm Byron Scott. Good night.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy, organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say, she really doesn't have much of a life. But to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's gotta come home with me. Not anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.